Hi here, Phil there. So I built Tinder for ugly people. Here it is. God, these people are ugly. These people are so ugly, my screen has shattered. A hedgehog. Diarrhea 55. A greedy woman from Suffolk is looking for an assertive man who is not afraid to show his soft side. The time to build Tinder for ugly people has finally come. Tinder that doesn't allow pretty. Tinder that only all those ugly countless people out there can be allowed to use. No, this app is actually for you, and it should help you to find the perfect match too. Bear with me. First, to be able to build my own Tinder, I needed the Tinder source code. And I had two options, either steal it from Tinder or rebuild the entire Tinder app myself. I still resorted to stealing, sort of. Apps like these take months to develop. On top of that, I needed to modify it to only allow ugly selfies and negative descriptions. And also I was really curious what would the ugly Tinder look like itself in terms of the UI design. So how do you build Tinder from scratch in under 5 days? Well, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. Or on the shoulders of each other. A headless horseman stands on his own shoulders. So I opened Google and googled Tinder clones in React. Sounds like a very wrong YouTube video, but it is. React is probably the only good thing to come out of Facebook in the past couple of decades, and it's a great framework for building web apps, so I was hoping that somebody has already used it to build a Tinder clone, the source code of which I can use. Pavel, 44, a vengeful and needy man from Minsk, looking for a conniving woman with eyes like potatoes. Ta-da! There it was. Not. I could only find the app that was only partially recreating the Tinder UI, and I needed the full functionality. So I couldn't find anything with Google. Did it mean that I needed to rebuild the whole thing myself? No, I wasn't yet ready to give up on stealing. Here is a life hack that I thought of in the process that is great for getting free open source code if you can't find it on Google. Orphans labor exploitation. Sorry, that's from a different video. YouTube tutorials. YouTube tutorials are great for stealing code. Good tutorials always have complete source code in the link below the video. And thanks to the great tutorial by Anya Kubov, I now had a core functionality of Tinder with swipeable cards, profiles and matches, and chat. I mean, it still did miss other Tinder features, but I had an evil plan for that, involving squeezing a medieval woman. The app also didn't look exactly like Tinder, but I was going to fix that too. Gaylord, 98, a homophobic and gloomy man looking for a rude and insensitive woman that looks like a man. The much more important thing now was how do you prevent non-ugly people from using it and make sure that descriptions in user profiles only talk about them from negative sites. All I needed to do was to remove the description text field and replace it with a list of required selectable options which were bad human qualities. And I made sure that list is the most exquisite in its nastiness. I did make sure that users can only have negative descriptions in their profiles, but that wasn't enough. Those pretty Tinder profile photos are just ugly. You can match them, but they can never match real life. How many amazing ladies I must have swiped left because her ears were not large enough, like I like. Her nose did not quite match the color of her hair. Her forehead was not reflective enough. When everyone is ugly, you don't have a choice. Which means if you could match with someone on the app, you could actually match them in real life. And now for the part where I couldn't get away with a quick solution like this. Profile images. I needed to only allow ugly profile images in the app. Anya's original code only allowed adding a profile image by pasting a URL into a text field. And I thought this UX could be improved and decided to add a functionality where a user can take a selfie directly in a web app. And of course, the app only needed to allow a user to take the selfie when the user was ugly enough. How do you make sure that users can only upload ugly selfies? Moderation by an insincere, one-eyed woman. No, that's... Actually, it's about as difficult as pushing a grandma under a bus. You only need a pair of hands and passion. The way you do it is open Google and type JavaScript face recognition library. Over the past couple of years, those libraries got really good. One of them even recognized its lost father. Okay, but how do you detect ugliness with them? Actually, very simple. Emotions. You don't just do face recognition, you also do emotion recognition. The way that emotion recognition works is that it relies on the fact that people have noses, mouths and eyes in more or less on the same location. God, that would have never worked on Mikhail. My grandmother's brother's cousin from the village. He was accidentally mauled by a donkey. Anyway, the camera detects the pattern made by high contrast landmarks on the face, your eyes, nose and the mouth, and then AI analyzes it and matches it with the deep pre-trained learning models to identify emotions based on their data. So after a quick search, I found the library that worked really well. I then discovered that angry, fearful, disgusted and even surprised, when recreated insincerely, look very ugly. So I added the button that captured the screenshot of the webcam and only made the button pressable when either angry, fearful, disgusted or surprised, or the mix of these emotions was detected. Vladimir, 70, an ignorant and narcissistic man from Russia, looking for an assertive law enforcement officer from The Hague for prison role-playing, or a decisive American politician who would be willing to firmly insert a long-range jet-powered subsonic Tomahawk cruise missile into Vladimir's butt. All these years, all these people have been forced to use a lost and found section in a weekly Tractor's owner Belarusian magazine called Harvest Horizon. Until now, the only thing left to do was to recreate the Tinder UI and make it look ugly. It still had to be recognizable as Tinder, kinda the ugly version of Tinder. The heart, it needs to look different. That's a medieval woman. A star-nosed mole or a hedgehog. That button is for all the suckers. Alien, from the movie Alien. A squirrel, digging for nuts. Two others. A mustached guy in a spacesuit walking away from an explosion. An octopus, being thrown out of the window. A turkey. Great. And then I also needed to do something about the Tinder login screen itself. The only problem remaining is that I only had a couple of hours left and I did not have any functionality for those Tinder buttons. That would have taken weeks to build and I only had 2 hours. And to make matters worse, I couldn't make a like and a dislike button, swipe cards left or right, so they did not work either. Not to worry, a brilliant solution came to me quickly. Ugly UX. If I couldn't do it properly, I could definitely add some stupid UX there. Like tapping a super like button or a hedgehog would add a hedgehog in random places running back and forth on the screen. Then I thought my ugly users should stay alert and added a bunch of alert windows. And finally, squeezing a medieval woman would result in mushrooms, vegetables, plants and whatnot appearing in random places on the screen. And all of this does not go away as well. So there it is. Tinder for ugly people. We're all ugly. We just haven't had an opportunity to be honest about it until now. So forget about making your selfie perfect and make it perfectly ugly instead. And tell everyone about your bad qualities. They tell so much more about you than your good ones. Thank you all very much for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell if you haven't. This all really helps. Don't forget to look ugly and see you soon.